Welcome to the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network, a weekly broadcast sponsored by CVC Coaching, hosted each week by industry speaker, coach, author, and educator Jerry Eisenhower. Our presentations are produced to assist business owners and managers in turning their business dreams into their business realities. And now, here's your host, Jerry Eisenhower.
Hey, and I want to welcome you once again to the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network. You know, this show is sponsored every week by my company, CVC Coaching. You know, we have a motto, we have a tagline, and what we do is we want to make and help you take your business dreams and turn them into your business realities. So every week we do our show and we try to find special guests. And what we go search for the best of the best. If you've been watching us lately, hey, we've had guys like Larry Wingate, Scott McCain, Tom Ziegler, Randy Pennington, Damian Mason. The list goes on. Well, this week, what I've asked, and he's agreed to speak, is a gentleman who is in the similar business to myself. He is a blue collar coach and consultant. He does education for HVAC plumbing. And in talking to him a little bit, I asked the question, hey, Joe, how'd you get into this? And Joe shared his story with me. So I'm hoping he's going to share it with you in here. I'm going to ask him to share that story of where he was, what he went to, and how he had to get there. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But my guest today is a gentleman. It goes by the they call him, I think they call him Uncle Joe out there or something like that. And anyway, this is Joe Crisara. He is a blue-collar business coach. He works with the plumbing HVAC contractors of America, works in home inspectors, and we actually cross over a little bit. But that's what's great. We like to network with each other when we're doing this. So, Joe, are you out there with me today, brother?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Jerry, for inviting me here. And what a pleasure and honor it is to be here with so many blue-collar professionals, and definitely with you yourself, Jerry, because you're one of my heroes as well. I follow you on Facebook and all over social media, and I listen to so many of your podcasts. And let you know how thankful and honored I am to be here with you this week. Thank you so much.
Joe, that's a great thing, because I call guys like you're good old boys, but we're also good people. And what we do is, and you and I have networked together, we have shared thoughts. In fact, one day, you and I are going to share a stage together, okay? We're going to do something together somewhere in the country. Joe's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, so we'll probably do it in St. Louis, so we both have about equal distances to go. That way we got no favoritism. But, Joe, first thing I want to know is, you were a contractor yourself at one time. I believe you told me you were in the HVAC and you were in the plumbing and other home services. Even told me you swept a few chimneys at one time up in northern Illinois. So, if you would, let's share with why you do what you do today, and what was it that changed in your life to have the skills to do this, Joe?
Well, Jerry, as you probably realize, most people who get into the blue collar trades, who start their own business, like the author Michael Gerber said, are really just normal people who are suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. A plumber. I was like an HVAC guy or a plumber who had a entrepreneurial seizure to get into a business. I did go into business, and for the first 7 years, I worked as hard as anybody. Matter of fact, I worked so hard, I wound up, getting myself about $250,000 in debt. So I started in 1985. By 1992, I had some jobs that people didn't pay me for, and I did some construction projects and wound up going into debt. And through the process of self-discovery, getting some really great mentors like Michael Gerber, Stephen Covey, people like that who were teaching in the real world. They were out there in the field doing seminars. And then, one of the biggest people is my own customer. I had a guy named Dave Muller who was a customer of mine who said, Joe, why are you always trying to offer people the cheapest thing? Why don't you offer them a more premium thing? And I said, well, how do you do that, Dave? And then he told me about the magic of offering people some premium, some mid-range, and economy solutions every single time you offer people a choice of pricing. So you don't just give them an ultimatum, you give them these three choices: premium, mid-range, and economy every single time. and through some other things that I learned from other mentors, how to create that connection with people, how do you personalize those solutions, and how do you bring it to a conclusion, how do you close the deal. Then 2 years later, I was debt free, and I got myself out of debt, $250,000. I did not go bankrupt. And when I brought in a check to my supplier for $64,000 to pay off my air conditioning and heating equipment bill, my supplier said, "What did you do to get out of debt? How did you get this money?" And I told him that I had just changed the way I offer my services to people, and we made a lot more money now, and that's how we did it. And then he gave me several other contractors who were in debt and asked me if I could help them. And then that's how I got into consulting. I started helping other contractors who were going through the same trouble and problems I had. And I realized that's really what my future was going to be at that point, Jerry. So I decided in 2001 to sell my heating, air conditioning, and plumbing and electrical business. And then I decided to just do this and help people who are in need. And I can't tell you, we have over 3,800 people who have taken our program called Total Immersion Service Selling, and have gone on to create great careers. And so not a day goes by where I don't thank my customers and everybody I work with and people like you who help me get the message out there. So I'm probably really just a product of somebody who is kind of brought up by other people who have really been so generous and helpful to help me bring the message to the general public.
And Joe, I think that's what makes you a special kind of guy. And so many of us, and I don't think people realize this, we are in the unique position. We are able to help people reach their dreams, and we're able to do it and do it for a living. And we can make money doing this, but it's not about the money. I think deep down inside, we want to see everyone that we deal with. We want to see every client. We want to really see them get to their dreams. And a lot of times I've told people it's more than the check I may receive from them. It's the bigger pleasure is to sit back and watch them go for those dreams and achieve those things in life and all that. So let me take you to the sales side, Joe. We both deal with home service contractors, maintenance contractors, installation contractors, and it could be, and a lot of it is with existing homes. So in this, what we're faced with is we're going to homes, we see things that need to be done. We've got to give this across to the customer. In my teachings, I share you've got to build trust with the customer. The customer has to trust you. You got to build a relationship with the customer, and that's a lot of what this is about. So tell me the Uncle Joe method of selling to this consumer when we were coming out, and we'll just say that it's a guy that's coming out to fix a simple plumbing problem or whatever, but he sees massive things are needed. How does he get across to the customer what's needed in such a way that the customer trusts him and buy from him from that trust? What's the Joe secret?
It's actually something that's a secret that's hidden in plain sight, Jerry, which is that I don't sell people at all. There's no selling at all. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. Instead, I create a scenario where I make the customer sell me. It's called the convince me step. And so what the convince me step is, Jerry, is that I see a scenario where something is unsafe or unhealthy for the family, or something that lacks quality and reliability and needs to be updated, or something where I see people are struggling because they could use a better service that I provide. And I try to turn the tables and make those people sell me. So for instance, if somebody said, I'm calling to get an estimate on redoing my chimney, or I'm calling to get some prices for a home inspector, I'm looking to get a new water heater. And I would say to that customer, well, can I ask you a question there, Marvin? Sure, what's that? Well, the question I have is, why do you want to get a new water heater? Why do you want to get that chimney worked on? I mean, what's wrong with the way it is now? And when I do that, when I tell people, as opposed to I'm eager to do the job for them, instead put the customer in a position to sell me, then the customer starts giving me every reason in the world why they got to get that chimney done. So what's the reason why we have to get it done? What's wrong with the way it is now? That simple question, followed up by several other questions, always gets the customer more enthusiastic about the project. And let's put it this way, Jerry. There's always a logical reason to not do the job, and the logical reason is that people have to spend money and they have to invest in their home, right? It's never logical. I mean, we just take that money and save it. It would be more logical. Yet, I mean, especially when you consider how often people use a fireplace or how often they take a water heater. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. The water heater's working good right now. Why are we changing the water heater if it's still working good? The logical thing would just be to keep the old one. So when I ask the customer, why don't we just keep the old one and not get a new one, then it forces the customer to have to put a presentation on for me and have to convince me, not the provider, that they really need this thing. As an electrician, Joe, have you considered not getting a hot tub and not upgrading the electrical? Because that would be the cheapest thing you could do. Well, Joe, I don't want to go cheap. I want to get this hot tub. Really, what's the reason why? And then they start telling you about their wife and their relationship, and all those things open up the playbook. And that's how I normally do it. So that's really the Joe method, is turning the tables around where I don't sell anything. As a matter of fact, if a contractor approaches me right now and says, well, how much does it cost to do business with you? And I say, well, right now it doesn't cost anything, because you and I have to create a relationship first, and then you have to want to change the results you get first. So why do you want to change the results? I always put that customer in a position to sell me as to why they would need to improve their sales. And then I can help you if you need that. But one thing I never do, I do a thing called pure motive service, Jerry. And pure motive service is to never force your service onto other people. If you have a service that's valuable, people are going to tell you why they need it. Does that make sense? And so that's why I try to do, is put customers in a position to sell me as to why they would need my services. And that's what made me highly successful, is that I never, one of my weaknesses is selling. I never try to sell anybody. I make them sell me instead.
Hey, I like that. So what I'm getting at, I'm understanding here is, one of my concepts is you've always have to think like the customer. You've always got to understand what that customer's going through. Many times as tradespeople, we've got all focused in. So I'm going to throw a hypothetical situation up at you. It doesn't involve a chimney, but it is going to involve something out of the plumbing industry. Now, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whenever, we had the instant hot water heater come on the market in the plumbing industry. I actually saw these in Europe before they were ever in America. And all of a sudden, and this is a product that's really unique because most plumbers have branded this as a Rinnai heater. Okay, I don't know about on the West Coast, but in the Southeast, when you say an instant hot water heater, they say a Rinnai heater. It is branded like Whirlpool and other things. But you're a plumber and you're coming in and the water heater is there and it's nearing the end of its lifespan. Okay, we could say we came in for whatever, but we're in the utility area. We're in the where the appliance is, and we see that this water heater is probably 15 to 18 years old, and we see that it would be a very good idea for them to go to an instant hot water heater. Okay, now tell me how Joe would say to bring this up with the customer, which in my consideration, this is upgrading the installation. This is a retrofit installation, but we know that the instant hot water heater is going to be more fuel efficient. It's going to be better for the environment, all the other things. So give me a Joe process for identifying and introducing that instant hot water heater.
Sure, Jerry, I could definitely do that. This is a softball right down right over home plate. Thank you for the easy one. This is an easy one here.
Hey, Joe, I gave you an easy pitch that's dead up your alley, okay? But the reason is, keep in mind, I'm going to chimney sweeps. So what you're identifying with is a product they don't commonly deal with every day. So that's why I threw this one up, if that makes sense, okay?
I did. That's fine. That's fine. Well, Jerry, here's what it would sound like. So, Jerry, I went through the whole plumbing system, and I want to give you my report. Do you want to hear what I have to say here now, Jerry, or not?
Hey, I'm all ears, man. I like you, Joe. You really intrigue me, and so hey, hit me with your best shot. But Joe, listen, I only got 5 minutes, and I got a call coming in. Okay.
Well, if you don't have enough time, Jerry, we could just stop the call, and you could just not worry about the water heater at this point. Would you like me to just go ahead and disqualify myself at this point? Because it sounds like you are like you're busy, too busy right now. Now, there's two choices you got. We could stop the call because you're too busy, or if you'd like me to continue the call, if you could carve out some more time, what do you think?
I think we could do that, Joe. You sound like my kind of guy. So, hey, I'm going to delay this call a little bit. I know this guy. He's got a lot of patience, so I'm sure he'll wait on this call. So, brother,
You
you got
sure?
the floor. Yeah, let's go for it.
Well, right now I got this a report I found on your plumbing system, Jerry. And so I got the thing. Here's what I found here. There's some things I definitely don't like what I'm seeing when it comes to the hot water heating system. Can I share those things with you about that hot water heater?
Say that again, Joe. I didn't quite get
Can,
that.
can I share some things in terms of what I found with your hot water heater?
Yeah, I'd love to hear him, Joe. I've been losing sleep over this hot water heater, brother. So, lay it on me.
Well, right now the water heater is 18 years old, and the average water heater only lasts for 12 years. What are your thoughts on that, Jerry?
I didn't know that, Joe. Really. That's all you get out of a water heater?
Yeah, and another thing, Jerry, I'm really alarmed about the condition of the water that comes into the tank itself. Jerry, I just did a chlorination test on your hot water heater on the water in the house. Are you aware that your water has over 5 times the amount of chlorine that a swimming pool would have in it?
You're kidding me, man. When I get my swimming pool out back, is that why my bathing suit keeps getting fading out, maybe?
Would you drink the water out of your swimming pool, Jerry?
Nah, especially with my grandkids. You never know what's in that water, Joe. You know what I'm saying?
I do, I do. Well, there's two kinds of people, Jerry. One person is the kind of person who likes to just let the water heater die and then drink that chlorinated water. Are you aware that we absorb over 6 glasses of chlorine through our 6 glasses of water through our skin every time we take a shower? And you're basically absorbing 6 glasses of chlorinated water into your skin every time you take a shower. And so there's some people who like to live with that condition and let the water heater die, and they do it the expensive way. Basically, they pay more in utilities, they let the thing break down on Christmas Eve, and they got to call it a plumber on Christmas Eve and get it done then, all along having an unhealthy condition where you got chlorinated water you're taking a shower in.
Well,
Now, there's
Joe,
other people, Jerry, who like to have endless hot water, dechlorinated water, and have a healthy skin condition, and have peace of mind for Christmas, where they never have to worry about anything. Which side do you put yourself in, Jerry? What kind of group do you put yourself in? More the expensive group who likes to wait for it to break down on Christmas Eve, or more the economical group that likes to get it done proactively ahead of time? What do you think?
well, actually, Joe, since you brought up water heater, I'm going to tell you something. I never shared this with you, but about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was living in another house, and we had a hot water heater that sprung a leak one day. And that hot water heater spread through the whole house. And we had to have the subfloor cut out. I had to go live in a hotel for about 2 weeks while they were cutting the floors out in my house and replaced all the carpet. Um, I never thought about that. It's been a couple years. So now you're telling me, so do I want to go through moving out of my house again, living in a hotel? Hey, let me tell you something. 2 weeks in the motel with a wife and two kids, that ain't the best. So let's keep talking. You got my interest now, brother.
Well, at this point, there's a couple things we could do. One thing, we just wait. I mean, the most expensive thing is just to wait and let it die and not do anything with it. Now, the more economical way would be to approach this right now, where I could show you some options here, all the way ranging from a tankless Renai hot water heater that would give you endless hot water, and also a water purification system that would provide healthy water for your family. And you can even go down to just a normal hot water heating system if you wanted to as well, too, more of an economy option. Now,
Well,
of course, you could just do nothing if you want to, and we could just take our chances, do it the expensive way later on. So what would you provide to do?
well, right now, let me give you my concerns. Every once in a while, we run out of hot water. And usually it's because my wife's washing clothes or something like that. That's probably one of the biggest factors I got with a hot water heater is all of a sudden I get in the shower and it's getting cold. So she's washing clothes, she's doing all this, and I don't want to run out of hot water. I like hot. When I get in the shower, I want hot water. So tell me what you can do that's going to give me the best solution, man. If I got to have a big old hot water heater, give me a supply or what?
Well, let me ask you a question first. What would be wrong with leaving it like it is now then? I mean, if you're used to the way it is now, have you considered just leaving it like that?
No, after what you just told me, man, we got to do something. When you told me 12 years and 18 years, you've got my interest right now. So we're going to have to do something, Joe. So tell
I mean,
me.
are you sure? Because I don't want to. Here's the thing, Jerry. I just came here today just to give you an estimate. I wasn't really prepared for that. So if I were to stay here and take extra time, because you said you were short on time too. So if I was to stay here and take some more time and give you the actual prices today, what would happen then? Because I don't want to bother you unless you're sure.
Why don't you go ahead and get those prices together and let's talk further. I'm going to take me about 15 minutes to make this call. And, what I'm doing, I'm also in the house. So when you get done, let me know. I'll be right here in my office. How's that sound? Because I want to hear this. We need to get this taken care of.
Are you sure? Because I wouldn't want to be bothering you. You said you sure you got time for it today?
I'm sure we'll fit it into it because right now I keep remembering that motel I slept in when the water heater fell. All right now, man, I got water heat. I'm watching my carpet getting soggy right now under my feet. I think it's getting wet now.
All right, let me go ahead and show. You go ahead and work. You go ahead and make that phone call. I'll go ahead and work on these solutions, and then we'll show you what we got. Make sense? And so
Well,
that's step one right there. Step one, create interest and desire. How do I create interest and desire? I basically tell you all the outcome of what's going to happen considering the way things are now, and then and take it all the way through, all the way to the very end, even in terms of going to that hotel room and spending time over there. Some people like to do it the expensive way, where they spend time in a hotel room, they absorb chlorine through their skin, they spend money on skin and dermatologists and things like that. Other people like to get those things taken care of ahead of time. They don't like to do it that way. Which way do you think you'd like to do it? Well, Joe, I mean, it seems pretty obvious. I mean, what you're saying. Well, I mean, that's not obvious, and we can just do it. We can just leave it the way it is now if you'd like us to. It would be okay with me. I mean, I'd be fine. No, I got to get this done. All right. I'll show you what I got then. Well, you sure you got time right now? See, what are the things I need to have? I need to have time. I got to make sure money's not going to be a problem. If I hear you say anything like that, like go ahead and say, Joe, how much is it going to cost? Because I don't want to, I'm on a fixed income. Go ahead and tell me that, Jerry, for a second. I throw that in the mix as well.
okay, so one of the things is, Joe, you need to know this. It's kind of important what this price is because, I'm on a fixed income here. My company ain't had a raise a couple years, so you're going to have to be easy on me, brother.
Well, here's the thing, Jerry. Money's not my master. So if this is going to be a financial burden on you and your family, if you think having clean, safe, hot water will be a financial burden, then I wouldn't want to proceed at this point. I would think I'd have to disqualify myself if money was going to be the overriding factor. However, if you could understand that it would actually be less money in the long run by getting this done now before the thing starts leaking into your walls and things like that, then I'd be able to proceed at that point. So it's your choice though. But if money's going to be a problem, a deciding factor here, I prefer we don't do anything. I'm not even going to work on those options at this point unless you're sure about this. So Jerry, what do you think? Do you have any financial resources we could work with that be able to work on this whole thing? Because we do have instant credit. We have Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover we take. And we also do other special financing programs that we have for people as well who need that. Now, if I could find one of those programs that would help you financially, what would happen then?
Well, Joe, do you have something? Maybe I hear a lot of things about 90 days same as cash or 6 months same as cash. You got anything like that where I can break this down into terms?
Well, I normally reserve that for people who need it. So if I were to give that to you today, what would happen then?
We might could go forward here.
You
Tell me
sure?
what this is going to cost me. I mean, that's the big thing. What's this deal going to cost me? I'm interested, but I'm kind of in the blind right now, Joe.
Well, let me go ahead and tell you how we work. Let me tell you how it works here, Jerry. I've actually worked up some premium, some mid-range, and some economy solutions. All I'm going to ask you to do is pick out your favorite one and let me know which one you like, and then we're going to go ahead and see if we can make it affordable. If we could find something that you liked and found the perfect price, and you could find a way to make it affordable, what would happen then, Jerry?
We could probably go ahead and get it done. I'd probably ask them when you could get it done because now I'm going to have a problem sleeping at night after everything you done told me.
All right. So if I did find a way to do it, what would happen? Just to be sure.
If you could find a way to make this work, we could fit it in, Joe. You're a really nice guy. I'd probably go with it.
Probably.
Probably.
Well, let me know when you're sure then, Jerry, and we'll do it then, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to push you into this. You sure?
No, I'm just a cautious guy, It's just.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this, Jerry. I'll create the options. You pick out your favorite one. Can you at least do that?
Sure, be glad to.
And then we'll just talk about bringing that to a conclusion. Now, there's going to be two outcomes to this call. it's either going to be a yes, you want to go forward, no, you don't want to go forward, or else we're going to set an appointment for a future date to bring it to a conclusion. That's how we'll do it then, Jerry. Okay, those are the three outcomes at the end of the process. Make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Let's rock and roll with it because it sounds, like I said, just got to hear where we're going with this, brother.
That's okay. It's okay. So the bottom line is that it always goes in the same place, Jerry, which is the customer purchasing. That's what else. The destination is always the same, which is you buying. But the thing is, who is the one selling the job? The customer. That's like, I got to put the customer into position to sell me as to which way he wants to do this. And you see the series of choices that the customer had to make to get there. You got this one choice of letting the thing go and leak into your walls and taking a trip with your family for 2 weeks and while we work on a water heater. The other choice is getting it done now before the holidays are coming. This is the exact reason I want to do it now, Jerry. I want to make sure that your holidays are going to be good. But it's up to you. What choice do you want to do? You want to wait till after the holidays and then we have a water heater that winds up losing it in the middle of Christmas Eve? Or you want to get it done now? This way we could take care of it at this point. It's up to you.
Joe,
So it's like, it seems so obvious, doesn't it? Who would say no to the right way of doing it? Make sense?
that's it, Joe. And with these grandkids coming over Thanksgiving, flooding the house, and then moving everybody into a hotel, that ain't an interest. So let's
Well, it's so looking at a chimney person, it's like, my greatest fear, Jerry, I don't like what I'm seeing here. Right now, there's buildup. There's a buildup of carbon buildup inside the carbon monoxide removal system in this chimney here. And my greatest fear is that right now there's also fractures in this system as well. And then you can bring up all these things you're seeing. Now, there's some people who like to just let the chimney fall apart, and then it's unsafe and unhealthy for the family. And they like to wind up in all the negative things that could happen there when that happens. Other people like to take care of it ahead of time and go ahead and get that chimney relined and taken care of. This way they can have a safe and healthy holidays, and they don't have to worry about Christmas Eve when people want to use the fireplace. They feel they have peace of mind. Which group do you fall into? The person who wants to worry about it on Christmas, or the person who's got it taken care of? So if you can get good at giving people pretty obvious choices, one way with a negative outcome and the other way where you have peace of mind and you spend time with your family not worrying about the chimney or worrying about things, then that's the outcome I provide. So which way would you like to do it? And then, time. Well, Jerry, if you don't have time, why don't we stop the call if it's not good for you right now? Or if you want to proceed, we could do that. It's choice between stopping or proceeding there. Money-wise, well, Jerry, if finances are tight, I don't want to be a burden on you financially. Why don't we just stop the call? On the other hand, if you had a financial resource, we could move forward. I don't want to. So it's every time you tell me something. See, what I listen for, Jerry, I listen for that little voice inside on my shoulder called Little Uncle Joe. And he's saying this call sucks. And why is he saying that? Well, he's saying it because the customer's like, probably. Well, if you're not sure about it, why don't we stop the call? You know what I'm saying there? I'm not going to continue on if you're not sure about things. Until I don't push people into things like this. You have to be certain that you want my services. And here's the good news for everybody out there who's going to listen to this podcast. Guess what the good news is, Jerry?
What's that?
Nobody would take 4 hours of their life and wait for you to sit here. Everybody blocks half a day to talk to the chimney sweep today. They take off the entire morning, or they take off, the entire morning when they have the plumber come out for the water heater. Nobody wants to take off half a day and then come back when their wife is home later on or their husband's home later on and say, hey, what happened with the chimney sweep today? Yeah, we didn't do anything. What? And then nobody wants to take off 4 hours of their life and not get the job done. That's a little secret that most customers won't reveal to you, is that if they called you to wait out there for 4 hours to get this job done, they don't want to have to tell their spouse or everybody else in the family that we simply didn't do it. Does that make sense? So that's one thing. If you give people a choice, they're always going to go forward.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because when I talked about the tankless hot water heater, instant hot water heater, the Renai, whichever way you want to call it, when I was talking about that, the comparison is that in today's world, we have EPA approved wood stoves that are very efficient, use less fuel, produce less smoke and gases into the atmosphere. We got a lot of old wood stoves out there. they've outlived their useful lifespan. Okay, they may be warped or whatever. Now they're not going to spill water in the floor, but they're not being used effectively. So one of the things I would like to hear from you is how do people move into, because the tankless hot water heater, as a rule, is going to be a more expensive proposition than it would be to put a tank heater. Am I correct?
It is far more expensive,
Right.
probably must 3 times or more.
Right. See, in my house, it's well, where the system is, and we checked. It's almost impossible because of the size and locations
Hmm.
and all this. A tankless hot water heater was over $4,000. Okay, and a tank was much less. So that's what I'm asking is what is that Joe secret of taking them up to the best alternative?
Let's say the tankless water heater was $4,500. Let's say that, okay?
Okay.
Here's my method. My method is to create an option where 4,500 seems cheap. So let me repeat that again. In a way, I've got to create an option that $4,500 seems like less money than what I'm telling. So here's my top option. My top option would be tankless hot water, carbon water purification for that chlorinated water, to repipe the home from the water heater back to the main, put in new gas lines, 10-year warranty, 10-year service plan to descale the tank every year for 10 years. And now I'm looking at $9,600 for that option there. So now instead of telling you it's 4,500, I'm going to tell you the top option is 9,600. And then the one with the 5-year descaling is 7,500. And then the 1 year with the 1 year is 4,500. And then the tank is the high recovery tank is 2,900. And then the normal tank with the higher capacity normal tank is 1,500. And then the bottom end, be the same one you got right now, would be 1,200. So what I would show you would be 6 options: 2 premium, 2 mid-range, 2 economy, and say, Jerry, here's all the options. And all I would explain would be the premium one first for $9,600. And then you'd be like, so I'm not going to get you to cry about something, Jerry. I want to see you cry about 9,600, not 4,500. Does that make sense? So by the time you look at 4,500, it's called, what this is called is the contrast principle. Write this down, everybody. It's called the contrast principle. You got a price that you want to get, then make something higher that has more service, more warranty, just other additional items on it that are needed that you can connect the dots. Like I can connect the dots between water quality and hot water. That's why I did the water purifier, about the chlorinated water. That's why I did the piping. If we're going to put a premium thing in, let's put the piping in too. And so if I'm going to try and sell 4,500, I got to make $9,600 look like a realistic situation to do. And then I'm going to do 7,500 and then 4,500 right in the middle. Because one fact you should know about, Jerry, 74% of the people will purchase the mid-range options. We will say 15% choose the top options, and only 11% choose the bottom options. And only 2% of those 11% choose the very bottom one. So if you create 2 premium, 2 mid-range, 2 economy options, 15% in the top, 74% in the middle, and only 11% on the bottom. That's how people choose. And so if I was going to statistically sell you a $4,500 tank, I would have offered you a $9,600 one first.
Got you covered. And Joe, whenever you were talking this, you just hit a gold nugget of memory in my personal memory bank. And what this was before, whenever I had a chimney sweep service, I had a retail store and I had a manufacturing company. Now, in our retail store, we were also into outdoor living. And part of outdoor living was we sold gas grills, charcoal grills, and we sold high end. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you, for instance, at one time I was selling Duquesne grills, and they range from $7.99 up to $12.99. And the primary seller was the $800 to $900 model, as long as I had the $1,300 model sitting on the floor. It was a comparison, just like you're talking about. Now, as we went into higher gas grills, and I believe you live in California, and outdoor living started coming in more and more popular, we moved up into very high-end grills. And we had gas grills that started at, believe it or not, around $3.99 and I had one gas grill on my floor that was $13,900 for that gas grill, which in the Southeast, that's a pretty expensive grill. I know for California it's not, but that's a pretty expensive grill. In fact, in California, y'all call them barbecues. We call them grills out here. But
We call them outdoor kitchens, Jerry.
outdoor, same thing. That's what my wife's in. Okay, I'll tell you about what she does one day because that's what she does is build outdoor kitchens. But what happened was when we had the $13,000 grill sitting on our floor, it was very easy to justify the $6,500 grill. Does it make sense? So
It totally does. Totally. And if you wanted to make the $13,000 grill, what you would have done is added a service plan where I come out and clean the grill twice a year. That would have been even. So if you would have added a service plan on them, I mean, think about those outdoor grills. Like somebody buys a $13,000 grill, we come out and resurface those grills twice a year or even 4 times a year. People use it all the time. Do a complete cleaning, a steam cleaning of everything on it, so it's like brand new every year. Imagine that kind of service that could be added to a $13,000 grill as well. Maybe you could be, maybe you could sell something like that for a 10-year service plan that would be bring that 13,000 up to 15,000, and then the 13,000 would seem more reasonable if you didn't have that service plan on it. Make sense?
it makes complete, but I want to point something else out. You and I
Sure.
did not discuss those grills before this call. That gas grill conversation came out of the blue, correct? But what Joe did was, and I think this is critical, what Joe was doing was listening to what I was saying. And what Joe was putting together was his strategy to make it work. This is what I think a lot of people miss in sales. We are listening we're listening to reply. And what you really got to listen to as a technician is you got to listen to what that customer is telling you. Now, Joe, through this entire podcast, what I'm hearing you say is you are asking questions, you're getting to understand the customer, and by doing that, you're able to come up with processes to sell the product in such a way that the customer is almost begging you to stay and have a conversation. Is that what I just heard?
You are. The customer has already been sold before I show the prices. So one thing I know is that the customer has made the purchase before I show the prices. The only thing I don't know is which price they're going to choose.
Got you covered. But you're already determined. You know you're going to make a sale of some type, and it's going to be, which goes down to what you see in e-commerce, where many times when you look at it in an e-commerce, an e-tailer, what I would call it, selling product over the internet, what they're doing is they have a range of selections. Now they can't get too many. You didn't give me 18 selections. You gave me 6 selections. Am I correct?
2 premium, 2 mid-range, and 2 economy. Yeah, and
Right.
there is a study that's been done by universities that would show you that the 6 selections are the perfect. The mind had the people stop shopping when a service provider has 6 different things to choose from. Then it becomes a matter of saying, why shop anywhere else when he's already got everything? When you only got 3 things or 2 things, it's really not enough. So furthermore, going back to your gas grill thing, if you had something that wasn't even a gas grill, would have been something that's not a gas grill that you got to use charcoal for it, that would be something that you could have too. That would be the cheaper thing to show people, here's all the options. You don't got to shop with anybody else. We've got everything from $15,000 all the way down to $59. It's up to you, and then why go anywhere else? I mean, what am I going to find at Target compared to looking at Jerry's store here? Nobody's going to have what he's got here. So why would I go there? You know what I'm saying there, Jerry?
That's it. You are cementing yourself in a relationship. You are becoming part of their life. And one of the sales processes I've heard you say, Joe, and I want you to expand on this a little bit, is I've heard you say in your classes, you would present the options, and then you said a thing that was key, which is what do you think we need to do for your family? Do you remember saying that in your classes?
It's 4 words, Jerry. I'm famous. These 4 words have been actually trademarked. It's now been a trademark. We have an actual United States trademark on it. The 4 words are this, Jerry. What should we do?
What should we do? I knew it was something like
What
that,
should
so
we
I
do?
didn't want.
So
Hey,
here we go.
I changed the words a little bit. I didn't want to infringe on your trademark, Joe.
That's okay. It's a trademark. Jerry, anybody here is free to use it on your own. Just don't make money. Only make money for your company. Don't teach other people, because those are my words. But what should we do? Here's the options: premium, mid-range, economy. Jerry, take a look at these for you and your family. Pick the best one for you and your family. What should we do? And then you pick those things up, and the customer says, "Wow, 15,000 for a grill? That's outrageous." Well, Jerry, it is a high investment. So what should we do? Wow, my wife is going to kill me if I buy that one. Well, I wouldn't want any homicide to take place. So what should we do? Oh my goodness, I'm going to think about it. If you take all the time you need, Joe, I'll stay right here. What should we do? You see what I'm saying? So those words, what should we do? You just keep saying them in the end until somebody gets the job done. And now, one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to volunteer to disqualify myself once I've given prices. See, before I've given the prices, I'm going to give you all kinds of chances to tell me you don't want to do it. But once I give you the prices, this is going forward. We're not stopping. Make sense?
Makes sense. Let me throw the next one at you, Joe. You ready? Okay. So, Joe, I like that price. I understand. So, Joe, what's your cash price today?
Jerry, which option are we talking about?
Well, I like that $69.95 when you talked about a while ago. So what you bet, you get $69.95. So, and the reason I'm saying this, Joe, in the northeastern part of the United States, these are deal makers. This is what people face every day. Will you eat the tax? Will you do that?
Jerry, let me tell you something. Jerry, the way in this United States, everybody from the man who is rich, who drives a Rolls Royce, to the man who is poor, is always looking for the best deal. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not by region. It's everywhere in the country does the same thing. So I hear that from everybody. But go ahead. What's my cash price? Go ahead. Ask me what my cash price.
I'm trying to beat you down on the price, Joe. I want you to eat the sales tax. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. This, like I said, I went one time, and one of the classes I went to that helped me tremendously was Crisara International, which is a negotiation class, okay? And it teaches people how to buy and sell products. And a lot of Fortune 500 companies send their buyers there. And I tell a lot of people, the problem you've got is your customer might have been to Crisara International. They have been professionally trained in how to negotiate your price down. But my question to you is, how do you combat this? How do you stay and hold your guns? What's your secret, Joe?
Well, it's actually a very easy secret. I have what's called pure motives, Jerry. And so if you ask me to lower the price, I would say this. I would say, so Jerry, when you say cash price discount, what you're asking me for is to cut corners. Now, if I had to cut corners, I would not cut corners for you and your family. So if I cut corners, I have to cut corners on safety or health or quality and reliability. So Jerry, what kind of corners would you like me to cut?
Got you covered. So you're going to put it back in their ball game, and they're going to have to understand that to negotiate this price down, they've got to take away from what they're going to benefit to stay to your price. Am I hearing this properly?
Yes. Now, another one you could do too, ask me for a senior discount, Jerry. Ask me for a senior discount or a military.
Here we go, Joe. I'm 65, I'm just, all I got is my Social Security. We're senior citizens. We're on a fixed income, man, and I don't know if you know it or not, we're not getting a lot of raises on Social Security these days.
I got it, Jerry. Well, Jerry, first of all, let me say that senior citizens are the highest rated people in our community, and I would never discount a senior citizen. But here's what I would do. If I said I had a senior bonus. Now, which option are you looking at here? That third, you said you had that third option for $1,200. You like that one?
Well, you actually, that $6,900 one, man, I'm kind of hung up. I don't know. There's something about that 69 number.
That 6,900, that's a good choice. Now, Jerry, before I go into that, what do you like about that choice for 6,900? What do you like about that one?
I don't even remember. You just ticked my interest, and all I remember from that conversation, you said you had a $6,900 option, and it sounded like everything, and it wasn't the most expensive one. So it's kind of where I'm at here. So, but again, I'm a senior citizen, Joe. Help me out, brother.
Well, I can definitely help you out with that. So that one comes with a 5-year warranty on all the parts and materials on it. And it actually comes with that 5-year service plan too, where we come out and descale the grates and stuff like that once a year for you. Now, Jerry, if I said this, as a senior citizen, instead of a senior discount, What if I gave you a senior bonus? What that means is I would give you an extra year of warranty and an extra year of service. If I said I could do that, and that's a $250 value, what would happen then?
I think we could have a deal.
So what should we do?
Let's do it.
There you go. We got the job sold. That's what it sounds like when we sell a job, Jerry. Let's do it. That's the end of it. So it's like you fell right into my trap. Instead of giving you a discount, I'm going to give you a bonus. So one of the best things you can do for people, guys, is give customers a bonus. So if you're a high-end service provider, discounts are not in the game plan. There's no such thing as a discount, because when you discount, you have to figure out, what am I going to cut corners on to give it? Isn't that the first thing we start thinking about is, man, what kind of used materials can I find, or what kind of thing can I substandardly do? And you start to go to the dark side, I call it, to start to figure out, well, what can I do? Maybe I can use that old, I got that one piece of liner in the back, I can kind of cobble that together somehow. You start thinking about things that are not even right, negative, toxic things you start thinking, because you're trying to find a way to make it work financially. Guys, a financial problem is not your problem. Put this in the customer's ballpark where it belongs. It's not something we need to solve. It's something the customer needs to solve. Now, the truth is, we may think that people are going to tell us no, they're going to tell us to get out of here. But guys, you're about 1 inch away from getting this job sold. If you would just hang in there and just say, what should we do? Again, you're volunteering to leave, as opposed to saying, what should we do? Let the customer make that decision. So one thing I would tell everybody to kind of get at the end here, which is, never voluntarily leave a call. Put an anchor on your rear end and just stand there and hold your place. Now, you're saying, what should we do? The customer has to make that decision. And so here's another piece of advice, Jerry. After you say the words, what should we do? 2 words for you: shut up. Don't say anything else at that point.
That's exactly where I was going, Joe. You just said the key words. I think that more sales are lost because we will not shut up. Okay. And what we've got, you just said the key words. You say it, and right after that, you shut up. And the customer will talk.
Well, I tell you what, I've heard many people talk their way out of a sale. I've never heard anyone listen their way out of a sale. Let's put it that way.
There you go. Well, Joe, I'm going to tell you, this has been a really good experience today. You've shared some really good ideas. So, Joe, what I want you to tell people to do is how to follow you. I mean, you put out social media, you do things. In fact, I was talking to your assistant for this about getting you a podcast started, getting out. So tell people how to follow you, how to get in touch with you, and go from there. And like I said, I'm planning on me and you doing some things together, present some things in the future. I think we bounce off each other very well. I'm not your best customer. I can be your pain in the ass customer. So we get somebody else you can sell to. But here's the whole thing, Joe. Tell people how to follow Joe. And I'm going to ask you 2 other things, okay? Or one other thing. And this is, I'm a firm believer that leaders are readers, okay? So what I'd like to know is if you could give 2 books that you feel will help people get to where they're going. You've been there, I've been there. Back in the 90s, you probably wondered, is there going to be a tomorrow? In 2010, I wondered if there's going to be a tomorrow. It's when you're up against the wall. And what we both did was we made it happen. And we were both faced with severe challenges. So do that. Tell people how to follow Joe, how to get in touch with Joe. And the other thing is, give them some advice on what to read.
Well, I'm going to give you 2 books, which are probably 2 you've never heard of. And you might want to get these too, Jerry. They're really good books. One is called Maximum Influence, and the author's name is Kurt Mortensen, K-U-R-T Mortensen, M-O-R-T-E-N-S-E-N. Maximum Influence by Kurt Mortensen. These are the 12 laws of persuasion, and this is really my source material kind of summed up in about a half-inch book, so it's really a great one. Another one is called the book called Yes by Dr. Robert Cialdini, C-I-A-L-D-I-N-I, Robert Cialdini, Yes, and it's a book on studies of persuasion. These are the things that have changed my life, Jerry. I take every single thing in those books and it's applied to everything I do. The law of scarcity, the law of contrast, creating these options, these choices, everything I've done. There's not one thing I've done that hasn't been studied by a major university or think tank in this country. You know, the thing that gets people to go to Starbucks to buy gods of coffee, you know, for $5 a cup when they used to buy it for 75 cents a cup. Those are the same things that you can do as a chimney sweep or as a home inspector or plumbing, heating and air conditioning professional or electrician. You can use those same principles of success to take the average call and to turn to something amazingly special. And so those are 2 books. Now you can follow me. My name is Joe Crisara, Crisara, and you can follow me on Facebook, or you can just go to my website, contractorselling.com. Contractorselling.com, only 1 S in the middle. And you can sign up there if you want to. We have several programs on how to be successful. And also just, I tell you, Jerry, everybody I help, here's my marketing. I just help people for free. My biggest thing is to let me give you something to get started with that's going to make a difference today. And then you can talk about investing in me after you've made some money off the things I teach people. So I teach people, I have an open hand philosophy. I let people have the information for free, letting them get started with it, and then they feel indebted that they need to come back and learn more. And that's how we've been so successful. We have over 3,800 people who have taken this material and achieved the highest level of success in their field. So Jerry, again, I want to say thank you to you and to all your listeners for listening to what I have to say. I know it's outside the box, so I definitely thanks for tolerating it and hopefully using it to perform better on your calls today.
You got it, brother. And listen, you tell your people, get in touch with my people, because one day we got to be on a stage together, okay? And what we got to do is working with my systems and your systems, and we put it together, and I'm going to guarantee you, you're going to knock it out of the ballpark out there, because it takes a lot of different thoughts and how to put it. But listen to what Joe shared with you. He taught you how to present it. He gave you a variety of ways to do this. He ingrained himself. He listened to the customer. He knew when to shut up and let the customer make the decision. He's letting you use his keywords that he's even trademarked. And see, I can use those since I'm in the same business. I got to always credit him at the end when I ever make it Joe Crisara. And I can't write a book with that, but Joe can because he's got it trademarked. But here's the whole thing. We do this show every week. And the reason we do it is I want to share with you the ways that you can move to a whole new level. Just like Joe talked about, hey, we share stuff all the time, and I want to share my methods with you. I'm like you, maybe one day I can help you. Maybe Joe can help you. Maybe somebody can help you. And I think what we want to do is sit back one day and say, hey, Joe made a difference in my life, or Jerry made a difference in my life. That's what makes us so proud of what we do. Joe, would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. The money part falls into place. It's a thing that happens. An investment in the services that we bring, Jerry, only happens if we provide value first. Like I always like to have my customers feeling like they owe me something rather than me owing them something. At the end of the process, I want them to feel like they need that, like they should have paid me more rather than what they paid me, not that they paid me too much. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of sitting
That's
here.
why I have to have that value.
Well, I want them to feel like they owe me something, but that's not your bill this month, I'm sure, right?
Well, you know what? That's like it's like the greatest victory. The greatest victories I have is when people are telling me that this information is priceless and that that I should be charging more. Because I you know what? I feel the same way too. But value is in the eye of the beholder, and I like to make sure that everybody realizes that. If you called me, I just help you for free because my thing is to get you started. And once you get the momentum, it's hard to stop a train that starts to move down those tracks. Make sense, sir?
It makes great sense. So anyway, this is Jerry Eisenhower, another weekly broadcast brought to you by CVC Coaching. This is the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network. You don't have to be in the chimney business. You don't have to be in the fireplace business. If you're in business and you're in a home maintenance service business and installation business, you're out to help America's homeowners. That's what we're all about. So follow us on Facebook, look us up. And here's the thing. My name's Jerry Eisenhower. And you know what? I'm looking forward to talking to you. Give me a call because here's the thing. Giving me a call, it don't cost you a dime. We got to get to know each other. And if I'm not the right fit for you, hey, maybe I'd send you somebody else. So I'm Jerry Eisenhower. And you know what? I bet you I'm waiting on your call right now to get in touch with me. So tune us in next week. You never know who our next guest will be, but if you look over the past history, we keep talking the same things. All of these business leaders, these coaches, these authors, these speakers that we've had, they all have one desire, and that is to share with you the secrets of what it's going to take. And they're not really secrets, just the methods and the processes you got to follow. And that's what's going to take you to your business dreams. See you next week, and I really appreciate and know this. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be able to share with you these methods every single week. Talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us here each week at the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network, sponsored by CVC Coaching, providing you the coaching and educational outreach services you need to move to your dream destination in business and in life.